What's up, guys? Welcome to the podcast and welcome into the God portal. This is going to be a new one. It's not really surprising, I guess, because the majority of this podcast is talking about spiritual shit, and like spiritual is also in relation to believing in God, right? Believing in a higher power, believing in something more than ourselves. And I also want to lead with another tagline, which is really funny, is a tagline I also was going to come up with is searching for God and meaning at 21 and how I accidentally joined a cult. So these things are like actually both really funny, but it's also very specific to like what might underhand it, like, I guess not underhand, but like the undercurrent of like things that I have done in my life has always been like relating to wanting to know why, like being curious about like some sort of higher power, always thinking that there's got to be more to this, there's got to be more to the story. And yeah, so I joined a cult when I was like 21 by accident, I might add. And it was actually quite scary. And I feel like, not to like, I'm not harping on religion at all, but like in a lot of the religious areas or sects or like things that I had tried, it's like those places are actually when I felt like the least amount of support and love and understanding, which is like the whole fucking point of like coming together and like believing in something. And so yeah, anyways, I have always, since I can remember, like even like, before high school, middle school, all that kind of stuff, I was like always asking, questioning, there's got to be something to this, like why are we here? One of those kids that like definitely was connected to this other side before we forget and then have to try to remember. And yeah, I just like kept on thinking like in search. I was just always in search. And I remember reading like a meditation blog that was like super popular. Like blogs weren't a thing like they are now, or what they were. And I was like just at the beginning of college, just finding this like meditation blog, and I was just like, oh my gosh, holy shit, what is this? So like I like was starting to learn about meditation and Buddhism, and I was like, what is this? Even in school, I had attended, I signed up for a course called World Religions, and I just wanted to know more, like how are they? I had a feeling like I just knew that like they were all connected somehow, they were all saying the same thing. I just had so many like loaded questions. And even in and out, like as a kid in school, my parents kind of had chunks of like, we went to church, we didn't go to church, we were Christians or identified as Christians, and then they weren't. And then so we had this like yo-yo kind of thing with like religion. It was like, I don't feel like I grew up religious, but I had like aspects of religion here and there sprinkled in. And then, I was always just like really fascinated and just, loved nature. And then as I got older, like found tarot cards and all this kind of stuff. But yeah, accidentally joined it. I was looking for community. I was young. I wanted friends. I had just moved to Chicago, and I was like, oh, here's a group of girls at like a book reading. I was like, this is fun. Like, I'll go there. I was kind of nerdy. So I was like, just like walked up to be like, hey. I've always been one to like introduce myself, being the new kid around the block all the time, because I moved a lot when I was growing up. So like it's never, sometimes it's difficult, but usually it's not hard for me to like meet new people, introduce myself, like I'm not really uncomfortable if I don't know anybody, because that was like the majority of how I felt when I was younger. So like introduce myself, and long story short, like I'm like a part of this group, and they seem really fun and cool, and they're my age, and I'm like, okay, yeah, like let's hang out. And like to hang out, you like needed to read the Bible. So I was like, all right, yeah, sure, I'll do that. And so I joined, and it just ended up being this like downward spiral that ended up being very like, why'd you miss this? And, why didn't you read this? And why are you starting to date and all this kind of stuff, and wanting to like match me up with a partner. And I was like, okay, this is getting too much. Yeah. So like many people, I feel like the journey of like spirituality or starting to like want this longingness, like you feel like I felt wounded by religion, by God, by like I thought it was very like, oh, I have to be this way or be very perfect or like can't make these mistakes or like it almost like strips you from your humanness to be like you have to be be this to be able to enter the kingdom of heaven or to reach nirvana or to reach enlightenment you have to do X, Y, and Z. So like my whole path has just been in this search of like personal discovery and also like universal, like what is going on, what are the laws, what are the what's the reason behind everything, why are we here, why are we not other places, or what else is with us, like how can we communicate. And then so anyways, this whole trail has like continued down to my life's work and my life's path to keep these questions. And the more that I have learned has led to different questions and has led to different teachers or understandings, level understandings and awarenesses. And it just keeps this ever evolving, like boulder down a hill, like collecting more dirt, just like continues to go. Like I don't know in this stage until we go like back to source if we're ever will really reach a point where it's just like I have the whole picture. We have moments of clarity, we have moments of clarity in meditation or like maybe on mushrooms or like in laughter, like these moments of clarity of like this is it, this is the moment, this is why we're here. And then they quickly kind of go away. So I've always had this like complicated relationship. So then as I had started to believe and follow like spirituality and go down this path and more of the meditation, more of the connecting with tarot, more with like using my pendulum and energy and learning about the dynamics of this and learning about, Dr. Joe Dispenza, and that kind of was the catalyst for a lot of like, wait, what we think and how we feel affects the field and the field responses, not the opposite. And so my science brain was like making all sense of like what was actually logistically happening from like a particle standpoint. And like as we continue to like narrow down the particle and study things more on a microscopic level, things get weirder, like quantum entanglement and all that kind of stuff. So my point is that the God portal will take you in a lot of different ways. And I think that it's really important to trust whatever you're interested in and find sense in. Sometimes you find sense in, and this is like the broader perspective of like, I think that my belief is that there is God in everything and everywhere. It is everything and nothing at the same time. And everywhere we look is God. Like we see God in each other. We're reflections and mirrors. And when we live from this space, things become very much more powerful and impactful rather than this like mundane day-to-day thing. So like then being a human, sometimes we are like, we're not perfect enough, we're not holy enough, we're not clear enough, we're not weird enough, we're not alien enough, all this kind of stuff. And but the truth is that like we are, because like we are God, and God is within us, funneling through us, and we're experiencing ourselves, experiencing God, all these things. And even in this understanding, I understand that I could have another level of understanding outside of this. So this is just where I am at currently. And it's never not feeling like, oh, I know it now, like got it. That's all I have to check. It's it continues to level up as we go. And not good or bad level. It's just like we have a broader awareness as we continue. And so through the God portal, I think it's important to follow your passions, inspirations, your awe, your excitement, your joy, your laughter, and you find God in different things. Like some people find more sense in like astrology, plants, the soil, music, all these different aspects. And that's where when you're such in your flow, like if you're in your flow and you're doing something you enjoy, like I think you're experiencing God. You are God, experiencing God, in this aspect of flow, which is also God. And yeah, so I remember like once I had like switched and crossed over to the spiritual threshold, I was really fucking triggered by the word God, and didn't want to associate with it. And it's just, I'm like, nope, religion, everything is false. That's all like trash. Don't believe in any of that kind of stuff. And then as I have, continued down the path spiritually, I'm like, wait a minute, we have goddesses and gods throughout the Bible. There is some truth. There is a lot of things that are skewed, that, things that have not been told to us. That's for another podcast. But there is truth, and it's not separate. It's like all together. It's like that visual of like, you've got the fish tank and the fish in the fish tank in the ocean. And then you're like, okay, this is spirituality, is the ocean, and the fish tank is religion. But I think that there's also something encapsulating spirituality. And outside of that is just God. I'm just like putting this together right now. So like we put things in boxes and we think that like, oh, well, this is a bigger box, so this must be more of understanding. But I even think that now spirituality is also a container. Like, okay, maybe the ocean is spirituality, but like the ether or the air is God, or like, so like we feel like when we get to a level, then we have like this kind of like understanding, or this a sense of authority of like, okay, now I understand, I get it. And when you get in there, you're like, I get it now. Then it's like you want to like shove that down to other people and like say that and they don't know. And I even found myself in that trap when I was like, you're feeling spiritual, you're feeling really proud and excited because you know things, and you have a bigger awareness of what had happened in the world, and all these other histories that have come about. And you're like, wait, now I know what energy is, I know what the chakras mean, and I know what like all this kind of like I have these other terms to describe what I'm experiencing. And when people don't have those terms, or they're not using that, then they are down here and I'm up here. But that's not it either. So it's this level, like this continued level of awareness that keeps on like layer after layer of dismantling the boxes that we feel like we have to understand things in. And so like what gives us understanding is trying to put definitions and understanding towards these things. So a lot of the things that are actually happening in the world, or the things that are what is actually happening, is not definable. It doesn't have definition. Like it's just everything and nothing, which just really complicates like our human brain, because like we want to understand it, like we want to give definition to it, we want to explain it, we want to know why. And when we can't do that, then we just immediately go towards like it doesn't exist, which is also true because there's nothingness too within everything. So the God portal really launches you into an area that is going to make you feel like you are God and like you are experiencing God. And the God portal can be anything you want it to be. You can launch yourself in a God portal, and it can send you through traveling countries, send you through being committed to a partner, can send you through learning something new, learning a skill. Could be art and creating things, could be speaking, could be singing, could be music, could be anything that is in your flow. And I fucking hate that word, and I hate that term, to be honest. Like, oh, it was in flow. Like, but it also is true. Like there is truth to it. Like when you are so engrossed in something, and like it's like you don't want to even get up to fucking pee. That is, I think you're experiencing God, in my opinion. And I feel that when I'm creating, when I'm doing podcasts, when I'm making my art, when I'm creating a course, when I'm in my own personal self-discovery, when I'm traveling, when I'm in good conversation and communion, when I'm doing my tarot cards, I'm just so engrossed in it that like I don't want anything to ruin this flow, to ruin this moment, because I am experiencing what it feels like to be and experience God. And I think through that God portal, we can really, we can change the world through that, because you're not in association of like, I have to do this, or I'm better than this, or I have more understanding with this. It's just like you're launching yourself over and over into something that is creating more joy, love, peace, abundance, community, just frequency, energy. It's everything. It's everything and nothing. And I think one of the other points is to experience. Like, we're here to experience things within our body, within this physical plane. And it's grounding in all of these thoughts or these ideas or these teachings or these this cloud of information that can be given to us. It's to bring it down and embody and live it. That's what I think the God portal is. So this is fun. That took a whole different turn than I thought this was going to go, which is really fun because in a way, many of these messages, especially now as I anchor into more clearly what this is providing and what this podcast is here for, that it's not, I mean, yes, I do interviews and I talk about my life, but as this continues to evolve, Between Portals literally is here to bring you through different portals. And as I communicate to you these different ideas, it literally is being able to create an energetic portal for you to move through. And a lot of the things that I speak towards is being channeled down to you. So it's like, if you're listening to this and as you listen and you're being drawn to different portals, quote unquote, what I label these episodes, it allows you to be launched through that energetic stream and come out to the other side of the episode different. Portals in itself can feel very mystical, magical, mysterious, but they're not. They're gateways. They're doorways that we can step through when we become somebody else, when we're interested in something else, when we go through a change, when we go through an experience, we meet a person. We are, the amount of portals you have already stepped through in your life is insane. And then now we have terms and ways to describe what it is and what actually is happening. So the more that we have awareness and intention behind it, the bigger the momentum there is for that aspect, that change, or that portal. It becomes bigger because you're like, whoa, now I know what I'm doing. Now I know what I'm stepping through. Like, I'm treating now each episode as a journey in its own, where energetically I'm coming out the other side different. So through this, ask yourself, what does your God portal look like? What does it feel like? What are you doing? Where are you going? How do you access it? And then continuously to see how often you can take yourself through that. Maybe it's a daily practice to go through your God portal. Maybe it's through your daily meditation or coloring or journaling, writing, your morning coffee. That could be a portal. Yeah. So I will leave you with that. This has been really interesting. I'm actually excited to listen to this one back because I think there's a lot of codes within these words. I'm just kind of coming out of this to be like, whoa, that was a trip. So yeah, if this feels powerful for you, or if you feel like this will resonate with somebody, please send it to them. And until then, I will see you in the next episode.